Come along with me today to the Oklahoma Gaming Frenzy in search of Kirby games. So the first thing I did was go to the Wii section because there's a bunch of Wii games that are Kirby. And so I kind of was checking through this section here at this vendor, but I didn't find anything. So I went to the Super Nintendo because again, there's a few Kirby games on the Super Nintendo, but I didn't see any. I did see a few of these 3D printed Kirby's, which was pretty cool. And then I went to this next booth that again, you know what I did? I kind of went to the Wii and the Wii U section here, but nothing there that was Kirby related. So I continued on where I wondered if in glass cases I would find them. I did find this Kirby Mass Attack, but I already have it. So I didn't have that on my list. So again, I kept looking here in the Wii and the Wii U section, even the NES and the Super Nintendo section in this booth, but I just wasn't finding anything until I ended up turning to this section here to the left a little bit, and that is where I ended up finding Kirby's Adventure for the NES for $30, which is totally perfect because this is an absolutely amazing game. And if you didn't know, this was actually worth 30 bucks loose like this, so picking this up for the price it was definitely well worth it. But we still have a bunch more Kirby games to find, so let's kind of wander around and see if we can find any that are worth picking up. So then I went to this booth, which had, again, a bunch more Wii games and Wii U games. So I kind of looked through here, kind of hoping that I would find something that was worth it. And then I even checked the GameCube section because I'd love to find a copy of Kirby's Air Ride, but it just wasn't happening. Then I went to the Gaming Horde here where I made my way to the Wii U section and the Wii section, and I can't find any Kirby games, which is kind of concerning. I'm hoping to find at least 4 or 5 good Kirby games that are worth picking up. But then I made my way to this booth where immediately at the very front I found Kirby's Return to Dreamland, which is totally awesome. We finally found a Wii Kirby game that we'd been looking for. I even checked a little bit more in the GameCube section here, hoping for Kirby's Air Ride, as well as looked at the Super Nintendo here on the right, but I just wasn't finding it, which is kind of a bummer. But that is okay because I did end up picking up Kirby's Return to Dreamland. This was $22, which it is complete, so I'm not too upset with that price. So I ended up grabbing this, but it seems like we're going to have to really look because I'm not really seeing that many Kirby games, which is kind of disheartening, but I think we can find some more. So let's keep looking. Then I made my way to the next booth, which was Eric from the Oklahoma Gaming Frenzy. He was actually putting this on. So I wondered if I would be able to find anything in this Wii section. And I looked and I looked and I looked and I did not find any, which was kind of a bummer. I expected to find maybe one Kirby game here. So I kind of went to this other section of his booth and checked out where they had the GameCube games and a few extra Wii ones, but nothing there. So I made my way to the DS side, which again, 3DS and DS games, there's a few Kirby games, but nothing there. Then I made my way here and was looking for maybe Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy or Kirby's Dream Land 2, but I didn't find anything there. So I continued on. I found a few little Kirby enamel pins, and then Kirby Dream Land 3 for 170 is just way too much for me. And at the same booth, kind of looked through the GameCube games and just couldn't find anything. So I continued on to this next vendor where I checked out their DS games and didn't find anything. I made my way to the 3DS games, and again, I was starting to lose hope just because I'd looked so many places and I couldn't find a Kirby game. I thought maybe here there would be one, but then I saw it at the Wii U section, and that is Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, which is totally awesome. I am glad that I found this. This is such an amazing game on the Wii U, so finding this is good because I've been looking pretty hard and wasn't really finding any Kirby games, which is kind of a bummer, but then again, I did end up finding this one. I ended up picking this up for 35 bucks, which it is what it is, but I think this is an amazing game, and if you've never played this on the Wii U, you definitely should. It's definitely a ton of fun. But we've got to find more games. We've only found 3 Kirby games. Well, maybe 4 or 5, but only 3 worth picking up. So let's continue on. So I continued to wander around a little bit, and then I ended up finding this Kirby plush kind of sticking out. So I was hopeful maybe I'd find more Kirby stuff here, but unfortunately I didn't. I looked in this table right next to it that had 3DS games, but no Kirby games are around. And that is when I made my way to the Yesterplay Collectibles booth. I did find this demo disc, and I wondered if there was a Kirby game on it, but there wasn't. So I kept looking for Kirby's Air Ride, and unfortunately, I'm just not having very good luck here at the beginning. So I continued on looking through here. I made my way to their DS and 3DS section and looked around, didn't really find anything there. So I went to the Super Nintendos that were boxed games over here. Again, nothing. And then I went to the Wii section and found probably one of my favorite Kirby games, and that is Kirby's Epic Yarn. I looked for a little bit more to see if there was anything else, but I did end up grabbing Kirby's Epic Yarn here for 18 bucks, which is totally awesome. This is complete, and this is an absolutely amazing game. And like I said, I think this might be one of my favorite Kirby games. I'm not sure if I can confidently say it's my favorite, but it is a ton of fun and definitely well worth playing. So if you've got a Wii, you should definitely grab this game. So much fun, and definitely I love the aesthetic of the yarn and everything like that. So finding this was definitely good, but let's keep going. We've got some more to find. So of course I continued on. I found a little Kirby here and then a bunch of mystery Kirbys. Then this next booth had some 3DS games and DS games, but again, no Kirby games. And then the Super Nintendo section here is kind of the same. I don't know why I can't find many Kirby games. It's kind of a shame. But nonetheless, I found these Kirby plushes that's kind of reignited me to keep searching because I just couldn't find very many Kirby games, which I was kind of shocked at. I checked out the Wii section here, and then behind it was the GameCube section. But then is where it got awesome. I wandered over to kind of where this guy had his expensive and harder to find games, and that's where I found Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. And I ended up finding this box. He ended up giving me an insane deal, and this was definitely worth it, but I was not expecting to find this game. Honestly, I figured out of everything on my list, I just wouldn't find this one, but I got super lucky and did, and that is Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland for the Game Boy Advance, and this is complete. Now, this copy has definitely seen better days. There's like a rip through the box on the back, and the box is kind of beat up, and there's little holes all over it. But the guy was willing to deal, and he looked it up and said, this goes for about $105 complete. But with all the damage, he said, would you take $50 for it? And so I was like, of course, yes, I'm picking this game up. So I ended up getting it. It's kind of beat up for sure, but definitely a good deal. And I think this is like the icing on the cake from this kind of trying to find Kirby games and kind of not finding that many. I had a list of like 15 and I only ended up finding 5, but this surprisingly was like the one on the list that I was like, I'm not going to find that game loose, and I'm definitely not going to find it complete. And finding this, even though it is damaged and has some problems, finding this complete in the box is definitely awesome. So for such a good deal, I couldn't pass this one up. So there you have it. I ended up finding 5 games at the Oklahoma Gaming Frenzy from last weekend. I had a list of way more Kirby games that I was trying to find, but unfortunately, it's just kind of how it goes. Sometimes you find a ton of stuff, and sometimes you only have 5 of the 15 games you're looking for. So I figured I'd at least share my experience with you and show you that I did go hunting for these Kirby games. I'm a big fan of Kirby, if you couldn't tell, and so I was like, okay, I've got to see what is out there. And I did see that Kirby's Dream Land 3 for the Super Nintendo, but 170 bucks is a little too much for me to be paying. I'm not interested in it that much, and I'm pretty sure I might actually have it already. So I didn't go out of my way to pick that up. But overall, everything else that I ended up picking up was definitely well worth it. The prices were really good, and finding Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland just shocked me so much. So I'm really happy that I went and ended up hunting for Kirby games because I ended up finding some good stuff. But what do you think? What was the best Kirby game I got from the lot? And what did you think of this video? Comment down below and let me know. But I've got to get out of here. So check that video out right now if you haven't already. But overall, I feel like these are some really, really solid Kirby games. And I know I didn't find some of the rare ones that I would have liked to, but I'm still happy with what I found. So I'm getting out of here. So check that video out if you haven't already.